Hey, what's up? Okay, we are going to set up a WordPress multi-site environment locally in your machine today. The traditional way to set up WordPress is to use MAMP or any other local server. With Docker, you don't need to worry much about setting up a local server, installing database, installing bunch of other stuff separately. So we are going to use docker-ccompose today. In order to do that, first thing you need to do is download Docker desktop. So basically go to docker.com/products/docker-desktop and here you can download for your machine. Once you download and run it, if you have a Mac, you could see this little icon here and you can see it says Docker desktop is running. So now we are ready to start. Basically, what you have to do is first thing, create a docker-compose file. So if I go to docs.docker.com/compose, you can see more information about this file. So basically, you need to have docker-compose.yaml file in your folder. And inside this file, we need to add all the settings like a bunch of services and other containers and everything we need to add. So open up your terminal and start creating this file. So I'm in my folder, it's called wp-docker, and I'm going to create the file docker-compose YAML. And I'm opening this folder with my code editor. I'm using Visual Studio. It's up to you to use any editor you want. So I'm going to bring one by one all the services we need to run WordPress. So first of all, you need to add a version to docker-compose. So version. You could use like latest version. I think it's 3.9 here, but I will stick with 3.3. So first service we need to add is the database. You need the database to run WordPress. And the second service you need to add is WordPress itself. So basically, to add a service, you need something like this. Let me bring the service here. So basically, what this service does is we are using the image MySQL 5.7. If you need more information about the image, you can go to hub.docker.com and search for the service you need. So for example, MySQL, you can search for MySQL. You have all the details about environment variables and all other settings here. So going back to the editor, here we have the database service. We gave a name here, container name, and you can give any name here. And then we have a volume, and here we have environment variables. Basically the host and password and database and username and password, the root password and normal password. And then we are exposing the port here from container port to the machine port. So the second service, this is not really necessary, but you can still have this, nice to have. This service is phpMyAdmin. So basically you can open up your database and do any edit with port 8080 here. So there's not much here. So we are bringing the phpMyAdmin image and running it in port 8080. We are exposing port 80. And we have also environment variables here. The last service I'm bringing is WordPress. Yeah, so in this service, you have the WordPress. Normally, you can also add the version number here, but for this tutorial, I just keep it as the latest. And yeah, this service is depending on the database service. So here we defined, and again, we are exposing the port 80. And there is also the volume part here. So basically what it does is we are creating a public folder in our my current folder, and then mounting it to part-www/html folder. Inside this HTML folder, there is all the whole WordPress file system lives. So this whole WordPress file system will be mounted to public folder. And then WordPress DB host and WordPress DB user and DB password. We are passing these variables here. Normally you can also pass this variable directly on WP config. So I'm going to bring one more variable here. So basically this is where defining the multisite, enabling multisite in WordPress. You can, as always, you can also do this in WP config file. And now that we are gonna set up a custom domain, so this way we can visit domain in your browser to log into your WordPress and see your WordPress environment. So I'm assigning the domain modernwordpress.com.local, and I'm gonna bring some more to this, because when you have a multi-site, that you can have different languages, and whenever you change the language, you can assign a subdomain to each language, or subdomain, or completely new domain. So basically how this works is, we have modernwordpress.com.local domain, and we have 3 subdomains here. You can add as much as you want here, and basically you can later you can use this as modernwordpress.de.local, or modernwordpress.at.local, or modernwordpress.it.local. So this way you can have subdomain with your Docker container. So this is pretty cool, I think. And the last thing is, we have to bring is network and volumes. Yeah, that's it. So basically this is all we have to do. So I'm gonna go back to the terminal, and what you have to do is run docker-compose up. So docker-compose up -d. It's creating server. Okay, issue is I already run this, so I have a container with the same name. So I'm gonna change the container, or you can just completely clear cache and remove it. So another cool thing with Docker Desktop, you can have you can go to the dashboard, and you can see all the containers, running containers, and a lot of other stuff here. So anyway, I'm going to stop my other container. And maybe I'm gonna run this again. Yes, now my Docker is running. So one last thing is to do is we need to add the domain to our host file. So for example, if you had a different domain, just copy your domain also with subdomains, and go to your host file. It's in Mac, it is an etc and host. Here you have host file. You can add, I added here modernwordpress.com and .de.at.it.local. So, and this is it here. And now I'm going to the browser and try this out. modernwordpress.com/local. Yep, it is here. Basically, when you start for the first time, it will ask you to go through the setup. So basically, once you done the setup, you would see the backend like this. You can create a new site and do all the setup here. So now another thing I want to show you is, right now if you see here, we have the public folder. Inside public folder you have all other folders like WP admin, content, and include. So basically also you can open here WP config file, and as you can see here we have WP multisite also enabled. And yeah, basically you can also do only mount WP content folder when you, for example here, you can add /wp content, then you will have only mounted WP content. You don't have WP admin and include on your public folder. But if you use Git or something, if you want to update your WordPress locally, you can push the same code to production. You can just update it here and then push all the code in your Git repo. I do not recommend 100% that, but it works, and it is something that you can do with this, like whole files. So that is it for today, and thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice day.